Glorious, beloved, divine friends, family, brothers and sisters. In the raw, RK's Guyana Free Media, and I'm your friend, your host, Haji Dr. Roshan Khan, out of the jurisdiction. Lots of things are happening in Guyana, and though my sojourn at this time might be medical and other, I am fully in what's happening in Guyana. Now we know within the last week a very interesting phenomena took place in Guyana in the throes of what is democracy, and the People's National Congress ended up postponing their election for an extension, which I think looked very bad on the parties, administrators, management, and even on Mr. Alexander for having not been able to host the elections for the People's National Congress on time. It seems to be like a problem with this institution and this group, unfortunately, which is supposed to be a mature and elegant group. Maybe that is why GCOM was never ever ready for the recount, and not even properly for the elections, because certain elements there were from the People's National Congress. Now, I want to make it clear, I am not an enemy of the PNC. I'm always a friend, and especially since Hugh Desmond Hoyt. But I wonder what the founder leader and former Prime Minister and President, those imposed self through international destabilization of the Dr. Chetty Jagan government and so forth. The fact remains he was Prime Minister, at least by title and power, and then eventually became President of the Republic. So, but I wonder what he would have done if he knew his party is going on with these kinds of immaturity, functioning in what appears to be an amateurish manner. And if he's aware of the fact that one of his students, so to say, David Arthur Granger, became president and actually was not presidential nor functioning in the best interest as a president and for Guyana, and then actually handed over everything to Mr. Harman, who many people refer to him as a kind of a warlord, I heard, allegedly, but who did nothing in Parliament, nothing of substantial wisdom and leadership to show class, to create a vibrance of goodwill, not to make things difficult and hard and misbehave and what's not. Even when he called for a protest, people wouldn't go. So unfortunately, a man that I like, former President David Arthur Granger, lost himself. There was no zeal in administration. And also, everything was being handed over to Harman, who, to my opinion, became mentally compromised. Compromised in the state that he had too much of his responsibility and he became overwhelmed, compromised by being overwhelmed and could not function right. And then certain kind of friendships and trying to destroy people's life, which caused the PNC to lose that election, and trying to destroy the sugar workers by overnight announcement, and people, but everybody learned in the newspapers, even the quarantine workers and a leader of the AFC said he never knew anything about it, and there was catastrophe. Do you think that those people would vote for the PNC or the AFC, which is really a total waste institution now, the AFC? So in the raw, RK's Guyana Free Media, I do believe that Mr. Harman decimated the government, the presidency and the closure of the sugar estates without making any plans, and the people have had to fight to get their money, and to say, the former president saying the day before election they will give lands to them who were decimated in the Berbice quarantine area. And he didn't say anything about the people who were mauled and beaten and massacred after the elections in Region 5 at the hands of supporters of the former governing party, in which people from the party were sending messages and telling them to misbehave, in which some Indian women were raped, beaten, old women feel up, their bags stolen, people punched, their homes and their businesses burnt, their trucks burnt. Catastrophe here, there, and everywhere. People being targeted, running after. Indians were prevented from traveling. I could never believe these things would happen. And that these guys, the former president and Harman, would go up there and not instructed them to stop. But when my friend, Miss Lawrence, the former chairman of the party, went up, she used her influence and ended that protest. I mean, those people should have been targeted and imprisoned, and they couldn't be found. All you got to find one or two informers, give them a good small piece, and you can find them. So now, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, the elections are finished. Mr. Harman came down into a Lilliputian, completely decimated and wiped out. He's now an ordinary member of the party, not even a member of the Central Executive Committee, including former President David Arthur Granger, not even a member of the Central Executive Committee. You can see that the people want newness, and it appears that the victor, Mr. Aubrey Norton, understands this, realizes this, and is moving for newness. And we are hearing words that he's planning to reshuffle and shake up the entire cabinet. Well, he's very right. Very, very right. And you need to have a new opposition leader. And he, the General Secretary, should be the opposition leader. And bring some newness. Don't bring madness and wildness, Mr. Harman. Beg your pardon, Harman is out. Mr. Aubrey Norton, bring intellect, wisdom, cohesion, and goodwill to fight for. You're talking only about goodwill for your party, the grassroots for your party. You cannot win an election based on your party. And the AFC has lost everything. You got to win hearts and minds of the people. So this is my message to you before I read the article that was published in the internet media. I'm not seeing the name. I think it might have been a newsroom. But the fact remains, you got to win hearts and minds. People like us, people out of your fold, people out of your support base. You have made some huge mistakes in this party. You've isolated yourself not only from much of your intellectual intelligentsia and even the ordinary people by causing 5 months of mayhem and misery and destruction, mauled our economy. You need to win friends and influence people. Read that book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I advised Arthur Granger, advised Harman about it. I showed it out in one of my presentations, but it's all about power. So let me read this article about Harman is saying the PNC leader, the party needs to return to grassroots politics. Newly inaugurated leader of the People's National Congress, PNCR Aubrey Norton, says that under his stewardship, the party will return to the grassroots. Politics it once practiced, going into every village and feeling the pulse of the base. Now, I can't read from the newspapers, I'm reading from another cell phone while I'm recording on another cell phone. The leadership of the PNCR was officially handed over to a tearful Aubrey Norton today, after which he addressed his party comrades. So this today was a few days ago. dear friends and families, December 20th, I'm seeing here. According to Norton, in his address, the party's work will not be based in Congress Place, but rather will be out in the villages interacting with the people. So it seems that he's learning a thing or two, because no other People's National Congress political leader ever did that, except for Chenny Jagan. And the master of it was former President Dr. Bharat Jagdev, and now being fully done by His Excellency the President and his ministers constantly going out, and he himself meeting people and flying out, walking, running and riding to meet the people in catastrophe and to listen to their woes and to fix their woes and to fix this country, which was decimated for the past 5 years and 5 months of madness caused by the PNC's intransigence in failing to accept the reality of the GCOM and of the world. The world, not even one country supported the PNC, I must state. I'm speaking as an open-minded, fair person that I am and I always will be, but because I might not say things in league with what someone wants to say, they would say that I am prejudiced. So I go. According to Norton, it is in the fields that the party will get the information it needs to fulfill its mandate. Norton also promised that his executive team and regional party councillors will be kept busy, very much, ladies and gentlemen, like he is copycatting President, His Excellency, former Dr. Bharat Jagdev, and now Dr. Irfan Ali. The party leader also reaffirmed the commitment to inclusive governance of the party. In fact, Norton said that his rival for leadership, Dr. Van West Charles, and I personally like Van West Charles, always a good man, he listens and he tries to render support. And party stalwart Walter Lawrence, my friend and someone I look up to and respect, will both be made advisors to the PNC. Good choice. Among the new faces was Amanza Walton Disir, Ganesh Mahipal, Coretta MacDonald, and Geeta Chandan Edmonds. Jorwin Figuera, Christopher Jones, Gary Best, Edward Collins, Kirk Fraser, Samuel Sandy, Troy Garraway, Riaz Rupner Ryan, Don Hastings, and Hazel Pyle Lewis were also elected to executives of the party. So with that in mind, I will now close this off and send it off as the first message from and his feelings and his emotions. And understandably so, it could be an emotional thing, and a man who wishes also to become president of this country one day, he has to understand it is not by cantankerousness, Mr. Aubrey Norton. It's not by being cantankerous, threatening, and not accepting reality that you will ever become president. You can become president. You have to win the hearts and the minds of the people. And ask James Anthony Bond. I had advised this to him when I met him. I was very impressed when we worked together for a private sector business in conducting a commission of inquiry. And I told him, you're a nice guy. And people like you, good looking, in your way and your style, and with your intelligence, win the hearts and the minds of the Indo-Guyanese people. Do a few pro bono cases and go in and meet the people. Unfortunately, he didn't listen to me. And you, Mr. Norton, unfortunately, you poisoned yourself over the decades by making it appear that you are a stalwart of racism. You need to, how you will clean that baggage, how you'll get rid of it, I don't know, Mr. Norton. And really, honestly, to my God, in the name of Allah and all the religions and the deities of all the religions that I respect and love, you are actually seen as a racist. How you will clean that, I don't know. But if you could clean that and go to it with an open heart and apologize if people misunderstand you. Don't try to fight the government unnecessarily. They're very strong. and they're very powerful, and they have the support of the world behind them. You have to win hearts and minds and try to work along with His Excellency the President and recognize the victory and make Harman look stupid by recognizing the victory and have cohesion and goodwill. And let us see. My hope, Aubrey, Mr. Aubrey, my hope is that we can have a National Front government one day. Because I don't see racism. I don't see ethnicities. I don't see religious differences. I see them all as one human family under God in cohesion for love and goodwill. Your friend and your brother, me, Haji Roshan Khan.